You still think Big Ben's all in?
1,000%. I think there's too much on his plate, as I said yesterday. I think that's the issue. I think that given this year of divisive political commentary invading football, if you're the quarterback of a franchise with the Pittsburgh Steelers history and your head coach is Mike Tomlin that likes to empower the players and put the burden of leadership completely on the players, Ben's probably in the toughest spot in football. Too much on his plate. His play is deteriorated, but is he 100% all in? No question about it.
So I went back and watched the tape after the loss where he said, maybe I don't have it anymore. Well, if you really watch the tape, he just threw 5 picks. He just got out of the shower. He's in a lousy mood. After about 20 minutes of questions, he starts talking really fast because he wants to get out of there and get in his car and go home. And somebody asks him something, and he goes, yeah, maybe I don't have it anymore. It's one of those times a pro athlete just wants to get out of the room, into his SUV, and go see his family. So I think we're taking this quote, and we're not looking at it, we're taking it out of context. I don't think you can play in this league and be half in. I just think it demands more, so I think he's in.
Yeah, you can't. And Ben, he's a prideful guy. That's the one thing I do know. I had the luxury of playing with him, and every day I watched him go out and practice every day and work extremely hard to be the best that he could be on Sundays. And like I said yesterday, he has guys in that locker room who's looking up to him, who believes in winning the championship. They still have one of the best offenses in the league, and he's still one of the best players around, so he has to take that into account. This will be a great turnaround. I think this will spark the plug for the Pittsburgh Steelers and their offense. This will get them going.
That's the first time I heard that. And I'm telling you, inside, I was feeling so good for him and so happy that he came back and said something like that. We've been talking about it. You can't say that as your Hall of Fame. And I said that earlier this week. As a Hall of Famer and the credentials that he has and what he's done over his career and what he means to that team, what he said after the game, I know you said it was out of, he's just trying to get out of there, but you still can't say that.
Right.
And I'm so glad that he came back out there and said something like this. It made me feel great, and it also makes me want to jump on the bandwagon for this team because that's probably the best thing that ever happened to him. You hit that rock bottom. You hit that rock bottom. There's only one way to go. And if he is who we think he is and who he's shown to be, I have no doubt that he's going to turn this season around and he's going to go out there and perform like the Hall of Famer he says he is.
Someday, I may do it tomorrow on my radio show. I'll show the video again of Big Ben. One of my criticisms of the people in our business, not you guys, but Jason and I, sometimes there's deadlines. Sometimes we're trying to fill space. I need 14 inches of copy today, or I need to fill a radio segment. If you really go back and watch Big Ben, a lot of times his comments are over the course of a 15-minute interview. It's like when Bill Clinton wrote a book, it was mostly uninteresting except one line about maybe Monica Lewinsky, and everybody says, that's the book. No, that's the only interesting thing in the book. The interview with Big Ben, he was being glib, and he was annoyed, and I think I'm to blame. I take it, I hear it, I don't watch the tape fully, and I think we made it into a bigger story than it was.
Well, I'm going to defend the media in this regard. Big Ben did come out of nowhere during the offseason and say, I'm thinking about retirement.
He did.
That wasn't people like asking him. So he introduced it into the conversation of, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And so now he's got to live with the consequences of that. But I'll say again, I think he's all in when you make that decision. And particularly at his age and knowing the position, he knows what it's all involved in going all in on a season. You can't do it halfway. And so he is all in. I don't know if he can fix this, though. I don't. You had Le'Veon Bell sit out the entire training camp in a contract dispute. He ain't happy about being on the franchise tag. You got, a team that had an Army Ranger who had no choice in his mind but to go stand for the national anthem, and they've been dealing with that controversy. Mike, this is not unlike, a little bit different, but when you all went through the situation in Philadelphia over the wide receiver, Riley Cooper, and all of that can really change the dynamics in the locker room when you're dealing with issues like that.
Well, I think, like I said, it's enough leaders in the locker room where they can, take this situation and turn it into a positive. They have to. The Steeler Nation is riding on it, and if there's anybody that can do it, it's Ben, but he doesn't have to do it by himself. It's still a long season to go. they just have to take it one game at a time. But I'm curious to see how the offense moves and if it's, you know, the play calling with Todd Haley, if it's Ben not calling, you know, his own plays. You know, what's the discrepancy here that's not allowing them to be efficient on offense? It has to be something.